Hello, everybody. Thanks for joining us today on our live. We are speaking today about becoming a high value woman as a sexual goddess. This is going to be a really fun conversation. I hope you guys enjoy this conversation that we're going to have. Just as a quick introduction, I am Sherry Brazier, and I am a life and style coach. I've been a hairstylist for 27 years, and I'm also a wardrobe stylist. So I do all things helping women be confident in the way they look and the way they feel and just how they show up in the world, and help them dress so that they feel confident. And also we work a lot on the inside, feeling confident and then dressing the way that we feel and knowing exactly who we are. So that's what I do. Ruth, how about you?
I'm Ruth Liebel. I'm from Ruth Liebel Financial Counseling, Coaching. I have been a financial counselor and coach for over 15 years. I specialize in helping couples get on the same page and helping everyone create a financial plan for a life of abundance that they love.
Awesome. Love it. Okay, we have three things that we want to talk about today, three topics or 3 points that we want to kind of talk about. And we have been talking about becoming a high value woman. And if you're new, and if this is one of the first times that you've seen one of our lives, we are talking about becoming high value women, not necessarily the way that society would claim to be high value, and attracting a high value man, but not necessarily the high value man that society might tell you is a high value man. Ruth and I both are Christians, and so we bring the aspect of the way that God created us to be, and emulating the Savior Jesus Christ in everything that we do, and becoming that high value woman in the Savior's eyes, in the Lord's eyes, and then attracting a high value man and becoming one in in the way that we have our relationship with each other and with God. So Ruth, do you want to expand on anything with that? Do you want to add anything?
The conversations we want to have, especially this one, is to combat the world's definition of a high value man. It's diminished him to a paycheck, a big fat high paycheck, but just a paycheck. And the definition of a high value woman she's been diminished to just her body and her uterus. I feel like we're going back in time. So we want to keep the dynamicness and the importance and the usefulness of both genders and how we explode when we work healthfully and respectfully together. But yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So let's get into our first point of becoming a high value woman as a sexual goddess. Mm-hmm. So the first topic that we want to talk about is a high value woman as a sexual goddess takes care of herself. She takes care of the way that she looks, the way that she behaves, her behaviors, her femininity. She takes that into consideration, her very own femininity, the way that she takes care of her outside appearance. I want to say like hygiene as well.
Hygiene and grooming. Yes.
Hygiene and grooming. It doesn't, there's not a cookie cutter way to do that, but I think everybody knows like what that means. Like a woman takes care of herself. She smells good. She takes care of her mental health, her mood, the hormones that we have as women. Take all of that into consideration for yourself. It's all across the board, right? Mm-hmm. And then physically, taking care of herself physically, what that means, exercising, doing whatever physically we need to do to take care of ourselves. It's not necessarily only exercise and food and losing weight and whatever. It's also like, I have a bad back, and so I take care of myself physically so that I'm not in bed all the time because I have back issues. I've had injuries and, those kinds of things to my back. So the exercise that I do, the movement that I do, I take that into consideration so that I'm not overdoing it, but I also want to keep myself limber. Like those are the things we're talking about. So, for me, the piece of, taking care of herself and being attractive, obviously I'm a style coach and I have done hair for lots of years, decades, and I've had thousands of women in my chair. And there are so many ways to take care of yourself. It looks so many different ways, but it's not hard. It doesn't have to be hard. You don't have to start with, hot rollers in your hair every day, coloring your hair, highlighting. Like you don't have to start there. Just where are you now? How can you just maintain or up level where you are now by just 1%? Like there's that 1% rule in a lot of different personal development things. Just intentionally doing something with your hair is more than doing nothing. So, and I'm open to conversations about like, if you have, questions or issues or whatever with your hairstyle or your clothes or whatever, like I have people coming into my personal messages on Facebook and my DMs on Instagram daily asking me, hey, I have this, or what do you think about this, or whatever. Like I'm open to that. I love having conversations with people. So if you're like, I need to do something to take care of my outside appearance, but I'm just stuck with this one area, I am open to the conversation. Like just send me a message about, questions that you have. I'm open. And then femininity for me is just, what is your level of femininity? For me, it's high. I have very high level of femininity. I'm a girly girl. My favorite color is glitter. Like I'm probably to the extreme on that. I love high heels. I love fake nails. I love fake eyelashes. Like I am probably the extreme on the femininity side. You don't have to be there. That isn't what you have to do. But where is it for you? Figure out what that level is for you. Just notice it. Just ask yourself the questions. Where is that for me? So that's how I want to start it off for me. What do you think, Ruth? Give us your 2 cents.
I would say on my journey in this area, I've worked with Sherry since January. Did we start working together in January?
Yeah, I think so.
Because it came to the point where this was my weakness. All sorts of reasons, all sorts of thoughts, right? I'm not a super like girly girl. Like I'm a country girl. I work, super practical, very minimalistic. I say it's because I'm lazy, but maybe my language should actually be because I'm reducing my overwhelm. I'm a busy girl. I love ponytails and I love jeans and I love t-shirts, right? So finding where you feel really good in your body, that's the goal. How can you celebrate your femininity in the way you do it? Like, are you putting your hair in a ponytail because you like it and it's how you live your best girl life? Like having my hair down when I'm cleaning the bathrooms and changing dirty diapers. And I mean, when I was in high school, like moving cows and like making sandwiches, like it was just like I just felt like I can't see, right?
Yeah.
It just felt like annoying and useless. So you have to do it for what you do. Like this, I try to do my hair. I'm sitting at my desk, right? So it's how you feel in your most feminine self. But like the thoughts I've worked through is whatever you decide to do, be intentional and don't do it because you're hiding. I didn't realize how much I was doing stuff because I was hiding or because you aren't worth more time, energy, effort, resources. As moms, I know that this is like super classic. A lot of moms, when we stay at home, we have kids, we get frumpy.
Yeah.
So this is a very, very common thing. Like, what's the point? I'm just going to get thrown up on anyway.
Yep.
What's the point? Nobody cares anyway. Okay. Right. And a lot of things in our life can actually be very self-fulfilling. Like the prophecy is self-fulfilled. Like, what's the point? My husband doesn't find me attractive anyway. What's the point? Nobody cares. What's the point? I'm just going to get thrown up anyway.
Mhm.
I had those thoughts a long time. What's the point? It's just a waste of money on me anyway. Like, oh my gosh, those points. But I can tell you, I think I've done, I mean, what was my wardrobe share? I think I've maybe done $550 in clothing
Mhm.
in a year.
Yeah, that was your budget when we started. That's what
Yeah.
you told me it was. Mhm.
So I have $550 of clothing, totally different. My husband tells me multiple times a day how hot I am. My kids tell me I am so pretty. In fact, my daughter the other day, she gave me a big hug and she said, "Mom, it is so fun having a pretty mom."
Oh,
Right? And I think it takes me,
sweet.
I mean, I shower. I was already showering, so I don't know that I can count that as an ad. Now that the clothes are in my closet, it doesn't add time to my changing. The difference is probably my hair. I think I let it air dry. So I think I spend 35 minutes curling it, but I only have to do it every other day. So am I 15 minutes a day on my hair on average, which is what I was doing when I was scrunching my hair anyway.
Mhm.
And my results are way better. I feel
Mhm.
better. I talk to people better. So it's those kinds of things that's huge return. And it's not because I hate myself. And it's
Mhm.
not because somebody else expects me to do it. It's because I want to have my big self. I want to open myself up to the most that I can. The
Mhm.
energy is so different.
It
I'm
is.
not
It's
trying to
so.
win a popularity contest. I'm not trying to make my friends happy. I do want
Mhm.
to honor Sherry as my coach, but in like a motivating, exciting kind of a way, not in a like, she's not going to love me if I don't do it.
Mhm.
So it's very different. Working out, I work out 15 minutes. I ain't got time for that stuff, right? But I feel different. And 15 minutes a day for a year, it's going to make a huge difference. I'm already down some sizes, but like, I just feel really good. My nutrition is better. My working out is better. I just feel so good.
And it's such a like baby steps. Like people don't realize my program is a year long because it takes some time to put these things into practice. It takes some time to get clothes. There's 4 seasons. Like I have clients right now that are like, okay, we worked through summer and now I need to work through fall. Like fall is a totally different game now with clothes. And I'm like, I know. So then I want to make sure that you understand who you are and what you like and what works for your lifestyle and how to curl your hair if that's what it is. Like that takes time,
Yeah.
And it doesn't have to all be right now. You don't have to work on all of that stuff right now today, just baby pieces. Like what's on your mind right now? Is it that your clothes don't fit or is it that your hair is funky? Like whatever what it is. What is the thing that's bothering you? Let's focus on that and let's get that cleared off. And it's just a checklist. And you've got time. You've got time. You don't need to worry about like, I have to do this. I'm behind. I've only got so much time to do it. Whatever. Like it just take one small baby step and then they compound each other. You get the motivation and it's exciting. That's what I've seen with you.
Yeah.
Is when we first started, you were really overwhelmed because you didn't have any clothes and you needed to go shopping. And we just worked on it week to week. We just worked on it. And when you finally were able to get a few outfits in your closet, and then you started realizing, hey, wait, I actually feel better on the days that I wear these certain outfits. I
Yeah.
feel better. What is that weird? Like, I remember you texted me, is that weird? Like that I just feel different? Like, no, it's not weird at all. That is the deal. When
Yeah.
we care about ourselves, we
Mhm.
feel better about ourselves.
Yeah.
It's weird.
Well, I almost wonder if like my clothes were symbolic of the way I thought about stuff. Like nice clothes were always uncomfortable.
Mm.
And I think it was because I was trying to squeeze myself probably into a size. I know that the size thing, like I still have that teenage mind, like I need to be a certain size. So I'm going to squeeze into the smallest pant or shirt that I can, because then that means I'm that size. Like I know that that's part, but when I just was like, this is my size, then I was like so comfortable. And I don't have to do a look. Like, again, I wonder, like, how often do we take that high school or middle school girl that like, that's what it's supposed to look like. That's what beauty looks like. So when I was like, I actually hate wearing that crap. I'm going to wear this stuff. Then it was like so much better. So I wonder if just like symbolically, I was trying to squeeze myself into something and it felt unnatural. It was uncomfortable. It wasn't the right fit. Like all around, it wasn't the right fit. And then
One
when
of
I
the
just
things,
embraced me,
right.
such a good fit.
Yeah. One of the things that I've noticed is so many of my clients will come and be like, well, I don't want to be high maintenance. I don't want to be high maintenance. I don't want to be high maintenance. And I'll say, tell me what that means to you. What does high maintenance mean to you? And this is going to be shocker to all of you that are watching. I've gotten every different answer that you can even think of. Every person that I've asked that question to has had a different answer of what high maintenance means to them. So that tells me that there's not a like meaning that we're all going to agree on that, oh no, you're high maintenance. You've achieved high maintenance. Oh dear, what are we going to do? There isn't a definition that was common across the board, other than they assume that they're going to spend a whole bunch of time on themselves and a whole bunch of money on themselves. That's probably the two things that are constant throughout what I've asked. But in the effort of not being high maintenance, so many of us become no maintenance.
Or emotionally high maintenance. Like so emotionally high maintenance.
Yeah.
How
Like
much-
we are so worried about being high
Yeah.
maintenance that we just don't do anything at all.
Yeah. And how much drag do you have in your life? Every time you look in the mirror and you're like, I'm frumpy, I'm fat, I'm gross. Don't talk to me. Don't look at me. Don't talk to that person. I can't go to that event from my childhood, or I can't go talk to those people. I'm embarrassed. You know, husband, I'm not going to take my shirt off because I'm embarrassed. Like how it's the transfer of energy. It shows up somewhere. You got to take care of yourself, ladies. And that can be, I'm going to brush my hair today. I'm going to wear my hair down today. I'm going to wear my hair up today. I'm going to braid it today. I'm going to wash it today. I'm going to get it cut today. I'm going to put some lotion on my face today. I'm going to put some highlight, like at any level. But the high value woman, the sexual goddess, is going to take care of herself. She's going to value this amazing female asset. And she's going to learn how to let it shine.
Instead of trying to like shadow it.
Yeah.
Okay. The next one. My thing closed. Okay. Becoming a high value woman as a sexual goddess. This woman is committed and loyal. And once she finds her mate, her energy is unavailable to other men. So this can be if you're single and dating, or if you're married. Like if you find someone that you are going to be loyal to, you're going to be committed to, then the energy that we put out into the world is that we're unavailable. And when we were talking about this image came to my mind, or this, like this happened to me. And I was talking to another coworker man, like this is years ago, right? And he was saying that you can tell the women that are unhappy in their marriage because their energy is available. And as a man, I can sense that. And so I can also sense when a woman is happy in her marriage because her energy is unavailable. The energy there, whether it's the man puts, let's say he's flirting, right? A man is flirting because there's like, I know men that's just their personality. They're just open and they are open to compliments to other women, just in general, like that's just who they are. They're unavailable because they're married and they're unavailable. But this one particular man that I was talking to, that's kind of just who he is. He's just open and gives compliments and whatever. And available women, he gets a different response than unavailable women.
Mhm.
And he's like, it's interesting to see. Like, and I think for me, I have an unavailable energy. Like when I'm around people and other men,
Mhm.
I'm unavailable. And that is a conscious thing for me.
And it doesn't mean you're closed off or cold. It
No.
just means like the for sale sign is up.
Mhm.
The window is like, you can see through the window, but
Yeah.
the door is locked and the sign is up.
Mhm. Mhm.
Not open for admission. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just knowing where to put that energy, how to handle that energy is really important. And I would say along with this is, I would say do yourself a favor, ladies, and just make the energy known that like you're only open to your husband at any stage of life,
Mhm.
right? Like window shopping is welcome when you're single, but we're only open for business to the man who's going to pay the price to buy the frickin' building.
Mhm.
Right. And,
Mhm.
and I would say like, not just we decided to date exclusively. A lot of women get into trouble in this way in this modern world. So many girls date a guy for 5 dadgum years and he
Mhm.
has zero intention of marrying you.
Mhm.
And now you're left with all that drama.
Mhm.
So I would just say, like, just make it really clear, ladies, make it super clear. This is a very expensive building. I demand the highest bid in cash,
Mhm.
but then the building is yours,
Right.
is what I would say. Like, market your building, but it's only open for business when it's bought with cash. That's just do yourself the favor. How much drama? I think there's way too much commitment before marriage and not commitment inside of marriage.
Yeah. Mhm. Not enough commitment.
Yeah.
Not enough commitment and intentionality and continued commitment.
Yes.
Because like I've been married for 25 years. So there have been times in our marriage where our focus has been our kids or a business or, something. And we get into like a easy, not super intentional relationship. Right.
Mhm.
And that doesn't feel good to either one of us if it goes on for a while. And I'm lucky and have a husband that is aware of that. And so he's like, okay, we need to connect. We need to have some time for us. And we go for a drive or we have a weekend away or we have a Friday that we just spend together. And we just had our date day this last Friday. Now that the kids are in school,
Mhm.
Friday is kind of our date day. And my husband's off on Fridays and we went to the temple together and we went to lunch together and we just had lots of conversation and just connected with each other. And we weren't like pushed for time. We just like it. And it really has like lasted a long time. That connection, that feeling is like days of like fill up your jug of water, like just really intentional creating that commitment that we still have to each other.
Yeah.
So it doesn't get boring and dull.
Yeah. Yeah. It's very important. Okay. Well, so let's just like phrase this also. Anything that's high value, there's some exclusivities to it or there's some rarity to it. Like if you think about like your sports cars that are super, I mean, people spend like $600,000 on a car, but it is high quality, exclusive, Like when
Mhm.
you purchase those cars,
Rare.
you have like amazing customer service forever, right? Or like high paying coaches. Like some people, they pay like $500,000 a year for a coach, and that coach has 3 clients,
Mhm.
right? Maybe even one. Sometimes they take one. Or diamonds. You know, you get those big rocks, like not
Mhm.
everybody's going home with that diamond. You know, if you just think about what is high value, there's some exclusivity to it, or there's like a big price to pay.
Mhm.
But men want that. Men have women want it too.
Yeah.
Like we don't want man whores. We don't want to feel like, because it's a reflection of us, right? Like, are we just one of Walmart's billion clients today? Or are we like the president of the country and it is ours right now? You know what I
Mhm.
mean? Like, and
Mhm.
men want it too. And then we talked about, like, when we originally showed our model, our match with this like male advocate, our husband and our wife, it elevates us or it lowers us inside of our hierarchies.
Mhm.
So it's a synergistic value to him that you are closed for business, because a man that can get a woman that is high value, that is high character, that treats herself well and is closed for business once he, you know, is committed to her, it boosts his value and respect. But if he's got a
Within the
wife
male.
that's loosey goosey, flirts with everybody, she's made out
Mhm.
with, you know, he takes you to a business meeting and all of his business partners are like, well, I've made out with her.
Mhm. Mhm.
Uh-uh.
Mhm.
So it's really important. Your partner, your marriage, let's just say marriage is one of the most important financial decisions that you will make. And you need to treat each other and treat yourself as such. Your husband is making a major investment in you, and you're
Mhm.
making a major investment in him. And start by having that deal be exclusive. I would
Mhm.
say from the beginning, like just from the very beginning, from today on, ain't nobody entering the building that hasn't paid
Mhm.
the high price in cash from now.
Mhm. Mhm. Yeah, I like it. Also, the one of the things that we talked about was in this, committed and loyal and, whatever, is it's important that that a high value woman likes men.
Yes.
And what we mean by that is that we have an appreciation, a respect, and a teammate energy towards men, not blame the hierarchy. Every man owes me. I'm, you know, what's the word when you're, I want to say submissive, but what's the word I'm looking for? It's a word that we all are telling the women that we're just, you know, men
Ah,
are,
not submitted, submissive is not the word you're looking for.
no, it's, anyways. But there's a lot of talk about like we have to be better than men because they've diminished us so much, right? And I don't think the men have diminished us as much as the women
Well,
have
yeah.
diminished us.
Yeah.
We've diminished each other by this kind of talk
Mhm.
because our role is to be a teammate
Mhm.
to our male advocates, to our husbands,
Mhm.
and their role is to be a teammate for us. And for me, and this is just me and the way that I grew up and my experience in the world. And so I'm not by any means saying that this is what everyone, every woman's experience should be, because everybody has their own experience. But for me and my marriage, I want my husband to take care of me. I want him to be able to take care of me, but I'm an independent person by nature. I don't really need him to take care of me. I can do anything that I want to do. I'm pretty driven. I'm pretty determined. I'm not afraid to work. I'm not afraid to get dirty. Glitter is my favorite color, but I still can weed the garden and go on a four-wheeler and like get dirty and like all the things. And so I'm an independent woman for sure. But I also want my husband to feel valued in his manhood. And so I want to be able to allow him to take care of me, because I want him to feel like he's doing his job
Mhm.
in his male duties, whatever. And so there are some things that I will ask him to do for me, not because I can't do them myself. I 100% can do them myself, but because I want to give him the opportunity to care for me and to take care of me, because that's important to him. And the reason that I know that that's important to him is because we've had conversations. So that's what I really want to press and encourage and invite you to do, women, you ladies, is to have the conversation with your husband and ask him, what is it that he wants for his manhood? How does he want to live his best life as a man? And tell him what you want to, what's important to you to live your best life as a woman, and to have those conversations where you can do the yin and the yang, because there are a lot of women that are more tomboy. Like we had, like, we used to say when we were younger, that was kind of the wording is like tomboyish, right? And totally fine. That's totally fine to be in that part of womanhood. Like, we all have testosterone and men have estrogen. Like, it's not a problem.
Yeah.
Right? Like, it ebbs and flows with every couple. I have a couple friends that are married right now, where he is the cook for their family because he enjoys it and she doesn't. She doesn't enjoy it at all. She doesn't like it. She doesn't like to cook. It's not
I
her thing.
hate cooking.
Right. She hates cooking.
I
He
hate cooking.
really enjoys it and he's good at it. And
Let the man do it. Let the man cook.
he likes it. Let him do
Yeah.
it. She doesn't. It works for them. It's like, we
Mhm.
get so much into these like norms and like columns and I don't know, like whatever. I think that a high value woman knows what she's good at, knows what she wants to, and how she wants to emulate herself. And
Mhm.
she has these conversations with her man.
Yeah.
And they have these conversations together and they decide together what works for them as a couple.
Yeah.
It's
And the team
conversation.
player, I think the team player energy is what's super, super
Mhm.
important. And just knowing, like, are there dirtbag men on this planet? Absolutely. We've all met them. We've all dated them. Hopefully you didn't marry them. I'm really sorry if you did, but
Mhm.
that's fixable on all kinds of levels, but not all men. My husband hasn't done any wrong against you. Like, please don't take
Mhm.
your douchebag experience out of my husband, and I won't take my douchebag experience out on your husband. Like,
Mhm.
I've actually looked at the statistics because I've studied all kinds of stuff. It's the percentage of douchebag men are actually really low. They're just douchebags for everybody and they just show up everywhere. It's like the same tiny percentage of idiots just hurts everybody.
Mhm.
But
No,
by
it's just
and
like one
large,
bad apple spoils the bunch.
yes. And even the good men hate him too.
Mhm.
Oh,
Mhm.
so just like be really careful of your energy. And I went through this in college. I went through this phase in college where I was like, screw all men. Like, I'm not for, all these things. And I realized that kind of gross, like vengeful, hateful, like anti-man energy, it didn't get rid of the bad men. It just got rid of the good men. So I was still stuck with the a-holes, but I
Mhm.
didn't have the good men in my life.
Mhm.
So, like, just really, the good men don't want to listen. They don't want to be blamed for all of the other a-holes that they also hate.
Mhm.
And they don't want to feel like they have to pay penitence
Mhm.
for something they didn't do, any more than we want to pay penitence for their crappy mom or that
Mhm.
girlfriend in high school that was super immature and just totally laid him out to dry, or that a-hole girlfriend that just did a number
Mhm.
on his head. Like, right? There
Mhm.
are jerk girls also. So just like
Mhm.
we don't want to take the heat and have to like totally make up for that, they don't want to either. So we are a team. We both
Mhm.
live in a world with humans. We've both gone through some maturing things. We've been jerks. They've been jerks. Like,
Mhm.
we're just teaming, like, just have that
Mhm.
energy. I promise you'll have better luck.
Mhm. Yep. Yeah. And think about like being on a team, sometimes the first baseman is the one that gets all the plays,
Mhm.
and everybody else just supports him. And then sometimes the ball goes all over the field, and it's the shortstop and the second base and the right fielder and the catcher and the pitcher. Like everybody gets a turn, kind of a thing. But then, sometimes it like you just have to play as a team. You win as a team,
Mhm.
and you lose as a team,
Mhm.
right? That was one of the best things that one of my kids' coaches told them, the football players. We win as a team, we lose as a team.
Mhm.
There's not one person that's the shining star, and there's not one person that lost it for us. We win as a team, we lose as a team. And
Yeah.
so that really was something that I have thought about over the years in a marriage is, it's not his fault. It's not my fault. Like we win as a couple and we lose as a couple. I think it's way more important how you lose as a couple than how you win as a couple.
Okay,
So
this is a good one. Let's move on.
good stuff. The third one, she gives huge value liberally. Huge value liberally. This one is she prioritizes sex. She initiates, appreciates his sexual nature and efforts, enjoys sex, and plays often.
Yeah.
So Ruth and her husband had a really fun conversation about this one. So I'm going to let you kind of head
Okay.
this one.
Okay, so caveat to this and to really all of them is if you feel like you can't give big value, if you feel like you don't enjoy sex or you feel like you can't play often, do the work on figuring out why and how to change that. If you've had sexual trauma in the past, stats show that 1 out of 4 girls before they're 18 have had sexual trauma. That's before they're 18.
Mhm.
So if you have a whole lifetime, like that's not even to college yet, right?
Mhm.
1 out of 4, but I will also say 1 out of 5 men.
Mhm.
Okay. And the stats that I'm running off of are kind of older stats. I think my stats when I was studying this intently was in the 90s or the early 2000s. So I don't know if it's gotten better or worse. I think when I looked before just to verify, I think those are still about the same numbers. But that's 1 out of every 4 people.
Mhm.
And what
That
we know
it's
about
hap-
these kinds of things is kind of demographics.
Mhm.
Like you might be like me and all my sisters, me and every friend I've ever had since before high school, right? Maybe you've had previous marriages, maybe you've had more serious boyfriends where things just got really shitty. So
Mhm.
if there's any kind of trauma, any kind of distrust, like please do yourself a favor and go take care of that. Therapists, coaches, whatever you need to do. Our next conversation that we're going to have is with Andy Jenkins. She is a life coach and she specializes in betrayal trauma, which is huge for sex life. If your husband is, you can't trust him for stuff, like that's a big deal. Porn, that's a thing. You
Mhm.
don't want to feel like, you're just something he's coming to after he's got the real thing he enjoys. So like, I'm just going to put that, the caveat to this conversation. Like, if you can't enjoy it, if you don't trust him, like do the work to make it happen. Whatever it is, it's totally worth it. Do yourself the favor, make that happen. Okay. Is that a fair little
Mhm.
caveat?
I think what I want to just clarify, do the work so that you can be healed, so
Yeah.
that you can heal yourself, not just so that you can,
Again, for something.
yeah, like just so that you can, have sex with your husband or whatever. That's a great symptom that will come, but do the work for yourself so that you can be in a good headspace for yourself,
Yes.
for your own sexuality.
Mhm.
And then you can bring that to the relationship, but you have to have your own healing and understanding about your own sexuality, because if you don't, that shows up in your marriage in all kinds of weird ways.
Yep. Big time. And if this is hitting you, right, then you already know what we're talking about.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So the prioritizes sex. So I expressed this to my husband and he was like, I didn't realize you see it that way. Like he's like, it's evident, but like me verbalizing it, he was like, that's cool. So I see it as the woman is responsible for leading the sexual relationship. And the man is responsible for leading the emotional relationship because we're the ones that hold the power in both sides, because stereotypically, we're the ones who yearn for that less. So we're going to be the brake on both sides. So we have to be the one to apply the gas to it. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
So that's why, I don't know if you've thought about this way, but that's why the men stereotypically ask the girl on the dates and plan the dates and all the things, is that is him leading in that emotional intimacy road and guiding that and taking that down.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. And then the girls, like for the like the pre-wedding girl party, what is that called? The bridal
Bachelorette.
party, like stereotypically, that's when you have the girl talks, and that's when you get the preparatory clothes. And now we're like super like open about it. It's a little, I would say almost can be super crude and disrespectful. But in the, when it first was like a thing, that's when it was like, okay, girlfriend, this is how you now like, you start to lead this because this is in your path. And my husband really appreciated that. Like that's, I put it on my goals. Every week I have a goal of our intimate relationship, whether it's going to be try something new, whether it's going to be a frequency, whether it's going to be so many flirty texts, whether it's going to be something. And he didn't know I did that, even though he did know I was doing it. So, but you prioritize it and you make sure to make it happen, at least
it's important
to the
to
minimum.
you.
Yes.
Make
at
it
least to the
important
minimum
to you.
of it. You don't have to plan everything, but if you're at a point where the spontaneity isn't happening frequently, and I guess everybody gets to decide frequency, if both of your partner and you are happy with the frequency and the intensity and exploration and stuff, then you don't have to schedule it very often. But I would say bare minimum, that's what I would say. So prioritize it. So you're scheduling it, you're initiating it. Men love it when you initiate. They love it. They're more than willing to do the work. Their body is programmed to initiate. But they love it. They want to feel desired. They want to feel reciprocated. Most men I know, they work through a lot of shame around their libido. They feel like they're a pest. They feel like it's something to be ashamed of. They feel like it's a burden to you. And maybe it is, but if you have that energy and it just like, it creates this monster, right? But if you can look at their libido as a gift to you, and I will tell you as a financial coach, the currency of sex is a gift. Men are not complicated. Again, we're stereotypes. I know that there's stuff outside the lines. Sometimes there are women who want it way more than men. But just if you can look at it as a gift, you don't have to like, every time he has a little moment or a thought or a feeling that you have to like service that act or feeling. But just work on seeing it as a gift. Like it really is a superpower actually, right? Like it's kind of amazing. I have very, 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 like maybe 2 or 3 times been rejected by my husband. Like I was in the mood and he just wouldn't for whatever he was experiencing. And I can tell you, it sucks. It sucks. So the fact that I don't know what that feels like very often is a gift. I don't have to woo him for days. He doesn't have to like recipe is very clear. A, B, C, he's ready, right? He is happy. But with women, they have to go through so much labor. Like it is a hunt. Oh, the right thing that will work for you tonight. They have to like be scouring and looking and putting tree stands in the right spots for months. It's exhausting. So the fact that they're willing to do the work so that you can have a great experience, that's a gift. So just look at it as a gift. Don't be ashamed. Don't shame them for their libido. Again, everything needs to be bridled and be in proportions so that you can like willingly be happy to like participate and to play. But just work on seeing it as a gift. Again, if you can't see it as a gift, do the work so that it can be a gift in your marriage. I'm really lucky. I don't have a husband that has porn problems or addiction problems or anything, but plenty of friends have. And I can tell you, I empathize with the struggle that would be. But I've also watched them work through and get good relationships. So if you're willing to put in the fight and he's willing to put in the fight, it can be good, but you just got to make it the priority
Mhm.
focus and work constantly at
Mhm.
it.
And I think that, I mean, this is something that I've had some experience with coaching women. And being a hairstylist, and I've, had lots of conversations with women, and I have a friend that was going to be on our live today. But she had some family emergencies come up, but she is a sex coach for Christian women.
We
And
will
I've
have
had
her
lots-
on. She just
we
couldn't
will
make
have
it
her
last
on.
minute today.
Yeah. Last minute she couldn't come, but she will come on and have a lot more to share with this. But I've had lots of conversations with her about men and their desire to please their wife. That is a big part of their sexual drive, is pleasuring their wife and making sure that she's taken care of. And so I think that in society, we kind of, have started to have this crude, conversations around sexuality and men's sexuality and women's sexuality. But in her experience with coaching women, mostly, she has opened it up to men. She does coach some men, but mostly she coaches women, Christian women, that their husbands really do want them to be satisfied, and they want them to be happy. They want them to enjoy it. They even like more than they want to enjoy it themselves.
Hmm.
If you actually get into these intimate conversations with these couples, that's what comes out 90% of the time.
Yeah.
Is the husband just really wants their wife to enjoy that intimacy with them. And there are some relationship breakers, in relationships, and there's traumas and, all of the things. But I have seen in the callings that I've had and in talking with my friend and in the coaching that I've done, that it is possible with some help to get through some of those things. I have another coach friend that's a guy, and he coaches men who have had pornography addictions. And I think it's Thrive Beyond Pornography, I think is his handle on Instagram, maybe. But he coaches men that have had issues with pornography, and they are Christian men that are struggling and want to get this under control, and they want to save their marriages, and they, all the things. And he works with the man, and his wife works with the women, with the wives. And so there is help for you if you are a Christian couple that struggles with some of these things. No shame. There is so much of it happening. It is Satan's tool. There's no shame. Like it's not if, it's when kind of a thing. So the worst thing that you can do is shame someone. It just puts them into hiding, which grows the addiction more. So one of the things that I learned through just years of all the things with this type of situation is shame loves the dark. And so if you can bring it into the light, it goes away. The shame goes away if you can bring it into the light. Now, not saying that it's going to just go away forever, like it comes and goes, but if you can have some help, if the wife can have some help, and the husband can have some help individually, and then collectively together, it can be something that actually ends up strengthening your relationship beyond anything that you can imagine. So if that is happening with your relationship, please reach out. I have resources. I'm sure Ruth has resources for help. And I know it's vulnerable. I know that is a vulnerable question to ask. But I can
the fight.
It is worth the fight.
The fight.
It is worth it.
Worth the fight.
Mm-hmm.
Like of all the things that are worth fighting for, this is worth fighting for.
Mm-hmm. It is a battle that is worth picking.
Yeah. Like screw anybody's opinion of maybe possibly looking at you some sort of way Like, forget it. That's
Mhm.
just forget it. Their opinion of your marriage as you're working through to get a healthier marriage doesn't matter. But
Mhm.
you struggling alone and having this like big old darkness in the middle that you can't enjoy each other and respect each other and trust each other, that will destroy your marriage, which
Mhm.
will
And your
destroy
family.
your money, which
Mhm.
will destroy your mental health. Like, if there
Mhm.
is anything worth fighting for, it is a functional, healthy marriage. Like,
Mhm.
it is, I don't know anybody that has been like, I'm so glad that I divorced my wife, but I amassed billions. So
Mhm.
happy about that.
Mhm.
Nobody does that. But I know a lot of people are like, I lost my millions, but I kept my marriage.
Mhm.
We have our marriage certificate on my wall. I can't see. Let's see, you can see. Right. So my room is covered with diplomas and certifications, like high education. My husband is a very smart guy. Lots of licenses and diplomas and degrees and doctor stuff. And me too. And that's right there with all of his stuff, because our marriage is he would give up any of his diplomas today if necessary to keep that wedding certificate. So like, it is worth fighting for. Just
Yeah.
fight for it.
Yeah. And I would also say that one begets the other. So if you
Yes.
have one party that's like really wants to fight for it, that not all the time, not all the time, but sometimes it will give the other party the confidence to fight.
Mhm.
Sometimes they just feel so um, discouraged
Mhm.
that, and there's so much like unsaid stuff happening that sometimes if one person is willing to fight, it will encourage and give the other person confidence to fight. Not always. Like I really like to live in sunshine and rainbow and land, unicorn land, and say that everybody would just love to fight for their marriage and make it great. But I know that that's not the case. I know that there are some relationships that would be better off if they did break up. I know some relationships like that where they are much better parents. Their family is much healthier. They're just a healthier family in general now that they are divorced. So please don't hear us saying that you should stay in abusive relationships or that you should try to fight for abusive relationships. If you are in an abusive relationship,
Mhm.
that is not what we are talking about.
And it
We
doesn't just have to be physically abusive.
Like
Like, if
kind
you're dealing with
of abuse.
personality disorders, or even if they haven't reached personality disorder, it's just high levels of narcissism. So there's lots of psychological or emotional abuse, and you feel like you need to be
Mhm.
checked into an insane asylum, or you're doubting your reality. That's sometimes you'd be like, I wish you were just honest about it and punch me in the face.
Yeah.
Because it's still as life sucking.
Yeah. So
yeah.
we are not talking about abusive relationships. We are not talking, if you are in an abusive relationship, please, please, please reach out and get help. Do not stay in an abusive relationship. The marriages that we are talking about are the ones that are just kind of flat. Like there's no abuse going on, but we're just roommates. We're just living together. We're just kind of going through the motions. Nothing's really wrong, but nothing's really right. Like those are the relationships that we are talking about. So please don't think that we're telling you to stay in abusive relationships. That's not at all what we are saying. Please reach out to get help if you need help with that.
Yeah.
So anything else you want to say before we wrap up?
No, just play. Make this really fun. Sex is really fun. When you get it right, it's really fun. And I would even say just the awkward journey getting there is really fun.
Mm-hmm.
It's fun. It's intimate. It's building. It's play. It's exploring. I think just be, again, with being interesting and interested in what we talked about last time, have an open mind. Be willing to try stuff. Be willing to be like, you know what? I wish this area of our sex life was better. Let's learn how to talk dirty. Let's learn how to whatever, right? Like, let's learn how to, like, I don't know, whatever. Give each other, just even if it's like just physical massages. Like if you want to start, like you're not into like kink or anything like that, like you're like, let's just learn how to give each other really good shoulder massages. Or let's learn how to give each other the best bubble bath. Or let's just practice kissing better. Like you can just pick anything and he will love you for it. He
Mhm.
wants to know that you enjoy it. He wants to know that's important to you. He wants to know that it's important to you. He wants to know that you enjoy it. Like those are his true
And
desires in life.
he wants to be pursued just
Yes.
like you do.
Yes.
You want to be pursued by your husband. He wants to be pursued by you.
Yeah. And it's fun. And I will say, ladies, sex for us is very much a mental game.
Mhm.
It's way more mental for us than it is for men.
Mhm.
So when you step into taking this, I'm the leader of our sexual life, and you start to plan and you start to strategize and you start to think of little cutesy things, you're getting your mind open for it. You have to be willing to be turned on, and you have to do the things that you need to be turned on, because if you aren't willing, there is nothing that he can do to turn you on. You are the gatekeeper to your brain, and your brain is the gatekeeper to your body. So you have to
Mhm.
throw the boy a bone.
Mhm.
And it's so much more fun when you get this right. So just play, just experiment. There's no have tos. These are all just like, think about it, open yourself to it. We didn't give you any rules, no
Mhm.
regulations, but just talk with him, figure out how you can play and explore in this, work on healing stuff that needs to be healed. You are worth this, and this is worth it.
Mhm.
Pursue this. It's
Mhm.
awesome.
Yeah. And reach out if you need resources. We have lots of resources for you.
Okay.
So, okay, next time we're going to talk to Andy, and it will be a recorded live. I'm headed out of town, so we are not going to be live next week, but we will have a video pre-recorded for you. So watch for that to come up at noon next Monday, and then we'll be back here live the next week. So, okay, if you have any questions or need some resources, let us know, and we'll see you next time. Bye.